Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So it's election day today in, Ohio on that abortion ballot initiative. State and legislative offices in Virginia.
Yep.
You've got
Pennsylvania,
a key state Supreme Court race there. And, of course, the governor's race in Kentucky. Oh, also New Jersey. New Jersey and Virginia always featured in these off-presidential year state elections. And this was really a moment in New Jersey. I just have to play this for you. There's nothing particularly compelling going on in New Jersey for our larger interests or with an eye towards 2024. But this rally of Democrats that was presided over by Senator Cory Booker, there was really a moment. So Cory Booker is given the usual rah-rah, column A, which is the column for Democrat candidates in New Jersey. Vote column A, rap, blah, blah, blah. And then the protesters came. And then listen to the song that plays over the protesters and the wonderful and unintentional irony.
This is what makes America great. The power to protest, the power to have free speech, the power of America. Column A, all the way. Column A, all the way. Column A, all the way. Column A, all the way.
Nothing says we are family like two factions in the Democrat Party screaming chants at one another. we are family. Family sounds a bit fractured there, Senator. But anyway, I just thought that was humorous. Al Cross is a professor at the University of Kentucky School of Journalism and Media and director of its Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues. He's the longest-serving political writer for the Louisville Courier Journal, that is, a national president of the Society of Professional Journalists, former. His opinions are his own, not the University of Kentucky's. All right, we won't check this with John Calipari. Al Cross, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be with you.
So the Cameron-Beshear race, it seemed like Beshear was going to win comfortably, and then polls, as we were closing into today, seemed to tighten up so that basically some of what I've seen, it's a statistical dead heat. How do you see this playing out? How do you handicap today's governor's race?
Well, it essentially depends on how powerful Donald Trump is at turning out his supporters for the Republican Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, who has made Trump's endorsement centerpiece of his campaign the last couple of weeks. He's also had a very good closing message of his own in which Trump is just playing a small role. But I don't think any of us really believe that Beshear would win comfortably. I think we looked at the numbers and said, this is a Republican state, plurality in registration, majority in voter performance. And even though Beshear has high job approval ratings, once you start ringing the partisan bell and attacking him on a partisan basis and invoking the name of Trump, we knew this race would tighten up. And the latest poll in this race shows that the Cameron supporters are voting pretty heavily against Beshear, almost as much as they are voting for Cameron, which tells me that they really haven't gotten to know Daniel Cameron all that well. They know Andy Beshear, and they're against him. So we'll see how many of those people turn out.
Well,
It's really, the election's really about turnout. It's not been a persuasion election. Cameron's campaign has been primarily directed at turning out his base And Beshear wants to hold on to the people, including Republicans, who look at him favorably.
Is Daniel Cameron getting the black vote?
We don't know. It's hard to poll in the state because African Americans are only 8% of the vote, and their sample sizes in polls are usually too small to draw any analysis.
So Beshear, comes from has political lineage in the state. His father was governor, and of course, despite the fact that it's a red state for presidential politics, he was able to win 4 years ago. So
he won 4 years ago because he was running against a very unpopular incumbent, Matt Bevin. As Mitch McConnell says, Matt Bevin literally talked himself out of the office. And the Republicans thought Beshear would be an easy pick 4 years later, but the pandemic came along and people generally approved of Beshear's actions in the pandemic. Now, Cameron is trying to take some of those actions and use them against Beshear, I think to some effect. But Beshear's job approval rating remains above 50.
Right, and so that's sort of my point. So, yeah, he may have ran against an unpopular incumbent Republican 4 years ago, but his approval rating is over 50 in a state that Trump won by 26 points. So it's a little bit more complicated at the local level than maybe outside observers would appreciate. And so how has he maintained even being competitive in this race? I'm talking about Beshear with what I would describe, but I'm a conservative, as an attractive, talented candidate in Cameron.
Well, Cameron is an attractive, talented candidate, but Kentucky voters, once they make up their minds about a governor or a candidate for governor, it's hard to change them. And I think Beshear has proven very resilient during his term. He had a couple of natural disasters that sort of reinforced the public approval that he gained during the pandemic. And the Cameron campaign has gradually tried to build up his name recognition and support and draw on that partisan label and the Trump label to get past Beshear, and it could happen today.
And Cameron has been significantly outspent, hasn't he, despite the fact that not only does Cameron have Trump's support, but he has Mitch McConnell's support in the Republican Senatorial Committee as well. Mitch McConnell has known Cameron for a long time.
Well, the Senatorial Committee isn't involved in this race, as far as I know.
I mean, not the Senatorial Committee, but I mean the RGA plus McConnell is what I meant.
And there's a lot of super PACs involved. You know, the Club for Growth is here, and most of the spending for Cameron has not come from his own campaign, but from those super PACs. Beshear has enjoyed the advantage of incumbency. The contributors who have something to gain or lose at the hands of the state thought he was going to win, so they stuck with him.
How do you think Beshear handled the COVID situation?
Well, I think he followed the advice of public health professionals. I think if he had it to do over again, he would not send state troopers to take license plate numbers at churches and put notices on the windshield. Now, you know, this only happened to like 7 churches, but it was enough to make an issue of it, and it resonates with people. I think most of the public believes that Beshear did the right thing, and that shows in his job approval ratings, but people don't like the fact that businesses were shut down, that schools were shut down so long, and we've had a clear learning loss among students on the achievement test as a result of the shutdowns. Not like Kentucky's the only state where that happened, but it gives Cameron some good talking points.
How significant an issue has abortion been? We certainly see it in places like Virginia and obviously Ohio because they have a ballot issue. But there's been, when it comes to trying to pick up seats in other states, there's been a lot of emphasis by Democrats on the Dobbs decision. What about Kentucky?
Well, it's pretty unusual to see a Democrat running on abortion, but that's what Beshear is doing in criticizing Cameron's lack of support for rape and incest exceptions. Essentially, the Supreme Court punted the ball to the other side of the field, and the Republicans made a fair catch in their own red zone and decided not to move the ball. It looks to me like Governor Youngkin in Virginia has taken a more politically palatable position by coming out for a 15-week ban with exceptions. It's real easy to attack somebody for not favoring exceptions for rape and incest because those are broadly popular, even in a conservative state like this.
And, so there's some sort of handicapping of this race that whoever wins is immediately going to be part of the conversation for 2028. Is that your view, too? Do you see this? Do you get the sense from both parties that they like their respective nominees here and they see them as national candidates at some point in the not-too-distant future, whoever wins?
Well, I think each of these candidates would have some more things to prove before they could really become a big part of the national conversation. But I don't think Jonathan Martin of Politico was off base when he wrote a column yesterday saying that Kentucky could elect a president, because Cameron, if elected, will be the first African-American elected governor in America. And that's a pretty good talking point for a party that thinks it can grow African-American support. Beshear, if he wins, that sends a message to Democrats that they need to pay attention to the broad middle of America and that they can still appeal to voters in the middle if you have a candidate with a good track record.
He is Al Cross. He's a professor at the University of Kentucky School of Journalism and Media, director of its Institute for Rural Journalism and Community Issues, longest-serving political writer for the Louisville Courier-General as well. And again, his opinions were his own, not the University of Kentucky's. Al Cross, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Valparaiso is a growing community that has become a model city for the Midwest. Valparaiso has momentum, and Matt Murphy wants to make sure we keep moving forward.
Over the past 4 years, we have prioritized public safety by adding additional police officers, firefighters, and school resource officers, and decreased crime by 11%.
Now, Matt Murphy is running for Valparaiso City Council to keep our city on the right track.
We've invested in our infrastructure by paving more than 30 miles of roads. We engaged the next generation by creating the Mayor's Youth Council. We've increased our rainy day fund, improved government transparency by live streaming our meetings, and kept property taxes low.
As a conservative leader, Matt Murphy will work to keep Valpo a strong and thriving community.
We've done a lot, but the work isn't done. Valpo's on the right track, and we need your